Alrighty, welcome to what I'm going to call a bittersweet podcast. So today is Jack's send-off podcast. So if we have like a beloved trainer here that's going to move on, I like to kind of wrap things up with their story and then just kind of what they've got going on. So for those of you who maybe some people know now, but a lot of you guys will find out when this drops, Jack is going to be moving on to the military, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. He's going to be finishing up here in 2 weeks. So if you see Jack, make sure to say hey, give him a hug. And then we'll be following him along his journey here coming up really soon. I think a good place to start is just, Jack, what do you have coming up? And then I'd love to just kind of talk through your journey here and beyond, but what is on the horizon for you?
As far as the next thing and the journey going forward is I'll be joining the military. I'll be trying to go through some special forces selection, stuff like that. Yep. Trying to be in special warfare group. As far as the Army goes, that's not pertaining to any like the Navy stuff, but yeah, as far as the Army stuff, I'll try to become a Special Forces Green Beret. But yeah, it's always kind of something I've kind of looked at.
Yeah.
And kind of wanted to do and really felt the calling to do.
Yeah. So our other coach, Jordan, he's on the other side of that. So he's out and he went through some of that. He was looking into that selection process. What does it look like? Like, what are the steps because it's not saying you want to do that and actually becoming that, or, it's like saying, hey, I want to go to the CrossfIT games, and then getting there is a different thing. So what does it look like to like go through the selection process, basic, all that type of stuff?
So as far as like the whole process of things, for me specifically, it's going to be probably more like a 4-year process.
Okay. So
7 to 8 months of basic holdover stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I'll go through a bunch of occupational station unit training, stuff like that. So airborne school.
Yeah.
I'll get thrown out of a airplane multiple times, and probably over about a course of probably 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
Doing that, and then I'll go up to Bragg, which will be basically where I go through selection. That's where they have the 82nd Airborne. So as far as that'll probably be a good few months past. We have another guy, Andrew, who's already down there. He's doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Yep.
So he has more information on this, but he's been relaying a lot of it to me as well. So we'll go through our SF, our Special Forces preparation course, and then we'll go to our SFAS, which is our Special Forces Assessment and Selection, which used to be 14 days, which they called 2 weeks in hell, and now it's 21 days, so it's 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so probably maybe a little bit more downtime.
Yeah.
So that they don't kill everybody.
Uh-huh.
But so it definitely allows strong characters to rise through, what would have been a terrible 2 weeks in hell, which is a documentary about SFAS.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called 2 Weeks in Hell.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon, which I was just watching it probably a few days ago. I was like, this is awesome.
Getting you pumped up for it.
Oh, yeah. And I was like, we get to do logs and stuff like that. So I'm like, being used to working with the worm and stuff like that, I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, I'm just doing CrossFit and my stuff, and then just carrying a heavy pack. Yeah. So I'm like, this will be fun.
So you go through basic. How long is just the basic training?
Basic, so the way it's laid out, it's 6 months.
Okay.
But there's times in between that you're going to have to wait for another unit or another class to go through their stuff. So you might have some holdover time, which is probably like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
So I'll have some downtime in between those things. But yeah, as far as basic, you're just looking at like basic infantryman stuff, you're kind of going through, you're getting smoked, or at least the drill sergeants are wanting to smoke you out to see who can cut it. And then just kind of who wants to be there or who can handle being in the military life.
How much weight do you think you're going to lose? This is a random question.
Probably 20, 25 pounds. So right now I'm about 215.
Yeah.
I'll probably be about 190.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 185.
I'm just thinking. I mean, because you can only eat what they feed you, and you're gonna be active and not sleeping a lot. And running around. Like you're not gonna be leaning into your 500-pound squats and 600-pound deadlifts that I see you doing here.
No.
Keeping all that muscle on.
I would love that. If they have a store on the training base, then I will totally go there and eat all of the protein that they have there to keep all my muscles.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't see how that's gonna happen.
No way.
And it probably won't serve you well when you're like rocking around and doing just a lot of like GPP and running and things like that. Like being that strong is probably not as efficient.
Yeah, it's unnecessary to be that strong.
Yeah.
It's just the right amount.
Yeah.
That's what they want you to be. Agile, mobile, hostile.
Yeah.
Like built like a CrossFitter, not necessarily like a power lifter.
Yes.
Or a fullback or a running back or a linebacker.
Yeah. I feel like they've gotten, just from what I've seen, their training has steered a little more towards that and a little less towards just like being a cross-country runner who can do sit-ups and push-ups.
Yeah.
It has steered a little bit more. They want soldiers to, be strong and be able to move and also be a presence kind of where they're at from what I've just read, and I listen to podcasts and what they want from people now.
Yeah, kind of what I picked up just from watching stuff and just gathering as much information as I can is what they're looking for is to build a base. So a base of just regular basic conditioning.
Yep.
So that they can have people who can do specific work, like moving across broad and modal domain, just like CrossFit. Yep. So it doesn't matter how long, how far, how heavy. They just want you to be able to move.
Yeah.
And then you can go from there.
Yeah.
And then when you get into your specific stuff, they're like, all right, now you can do a 100-pound pack for 21 miles under, 10 hours.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
Or, 5 miles under 35 minutes, something like that. But yeah,
so you're going to get more specific to what you do.
Exactly.
If you're carrying a big gun around, like you got to be strong to be able to do that. If you're, maybe some sort of a sniper guy, they're going to want you to be able to like run around for, 5 days out in the woods. And that's a different skill set and a different body type. And
or teaching the patients to move 1 inch every 4 hours.
Yeah, I just read a story about some guy in Vietnam he was a sniper. I think he killed like some extremely important general, and it took him like days, because he shot him in broad daylight, and he had to like, he was all like suited up, but he had to crawl. It was just 2,000 meters, which is, that's over a mile.
Oh yeah.
But it was like, it took him like 5 days, and he got bed sores because he'd have to like, he couldn't move, and he couldn't even like breathe because people were all over him, and then he would just like
one small step and you're done.
Yeah. It was a really interesting story. They might have made a movie about him, but it was a neat thing. And no, I think this move for you is really cool. It fits your personality. I've seen you in the coach's break room, like watching all the movies and stories about it, and I saw your interest kind of heading that way. And even with the training that you were doing here, like a little less towards like competitive CrossFit into more like, you did like rucking challenge, and you're starting to do things that are more suited towards that.
Yeah. Plus, like I've been doing CrossFit for so long.
Yep.
Like it's probably 12 or 13 years now.
Yeah, you were doing it as a kid.
Yeah,
so.
like I'm looking for something else that's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
And like I've always had an interest in the military.
Yeah.
Or any kind of law enforcement kind of background, and I wanted to get in on it, and just it seemed like the perfect time.
Absolutely. So I almost think when kids get into it right out of high school, I think I was maybe even telling you that, I think that it's young.
Yeah, it's definitely
18, getting right into it. There's some advantages where like you're probably a little bit more resilient to getting screamed at in certain other things, but you also lack a lot of maturity then. And are you 23 or 4?
I just turned 25.
25. Okay.
Yeah.
I know I'd always try and undershoot your age because when you started here, you were so young. I didn't think you were that young, but you were so young that I'm like, Jack's only like 21. Okay. So you're 25. It's such a good age though. I feel like where you're still 100% young and your body's not decayed in any way, but you've got some sort of mental maturity where you can handle some adversity. You've been away from your parents for a little while.
Yeah.
I feel like that 18, straight out of high school is I like the right out of college military. It's to me it feels and sounds better.
Yeah, like as far as like from what I've seen, the people that I know, a lot of people it's great for them to go straight into it if they're looking for some sort of career that's not gonna if they don't have any goals or any ambitions right away.
Absolutely.
It's perfect for them.
Yes.
But that's where, again, you'll see people make mistakes, especially in the military. As a young person, they get in trouble, stuff like that. So going in, especially a little bit older, I'm going to have a little bit more resilience, and obviously learning through the 13 years that I've done CrossFit and been around older people, I've already learned a lot from their mistakes, what they would do differently, this and that I can, use that to my advantage of, okay, like I'm making smarter choices.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, go out and get absolutely plastered when I should not be, so that I don't, mess up my life. Because, I mean, that's a big part of it, too. You have to
marry a young lady who might be, like, dancing next to the base when
exactly.
you're 3 weeks into it.
Yeah.
I had some buddies do stuff like that out of high school.
Exactly. They don't love you. They like the monies.
Yeah. They were, like, 18, 19 years old. And, they were some, like, rowdy redneck kids that were good friends of mine. And they got, they've been divorced twice, by the time they're 25. And
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the stuff that you hate to see.
Yeah.
But it happens, especially because, you have a lot of young people around you, a lot of young people, and they all want to prove themselves in some position. Some may not want to be there. Some may want to.
Yeah.
But that's also good. I'm not going there to be someone who guides people, but if it happens to happen, like, perfect. I help somebody out along the way because, that's what it is. You're a unit. You're in the military. You're part of a big cog in the wheel.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you make it better for somebody else, perfect.
Well, you're a coach too, and that's what you've done by trade, more or less since you graduated high school. And I think you'll be able to continue to do what you're doing here, especially I've talked to a lot of, Jordan's another good, I keep talking about him. Yeah. This is where he learned how to do CrossFit,
Yeah, Jordan was a Ranger, so he was already on that special warfare or special operations side. So, I mean, he was in, I want to say, don't hate me, but I want to say it's 3rd Ranger Battalion. Okay. But he was right down there in Fort Benning. So he was at Ranger headquarters. He does all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's been deployed, so he's been helping me. He's been helping me a ton with this stuff.
Yeah. And he told me, when he was deployed, that's where he really learned how to do the CrossFit moves, and I could see you like teaching, a conjugate seminar for your guys or whatever, and showing them how to lift and do CrossFit and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, with that kind of stuff, like, when you have like specific stuff that you're doing on a daily basis and you're having to learn, you're not going to want to go in there and be super messed up or have your hands ripped or something like that.
Yeah.
Because, you have to be able to train, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're training. When you're training around a specific job or a specific sport. You're not going in and working out like someone who goes to, let's say, a 9 to 5, something like that.
Yep.
Like, that's working out. But what they do and what, like, we do for CrossFit or if we're trying to compete in it is we're training. Yeah. We're training for something.
Yep.
We're training to become specifically better to better our body, to take on more stress, to excel in our job. Yeah, even as a coach, you're doing that.
Absolutely.
Because you have to be able to demo the movements, you have to be competent with what you're talking about, and you have to know exactly how to get someone else to get to that same goal.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really good fit for you, coming up. I'm excited for you. I think, what I'd like to kind of dive into next is just like diving into your journey just so far as like coaching, training, and kind of where you came from. I think we talked about this on a podcast, like when we hired you, but you started CrossFit with your mom, correct?
Oh, yeah.
What age were you then?
I was probably 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 or 11. Yeah, we started out in like what our gym was down in Florence, Kentucky, Sports All Sorts. So it wasn't even a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my mom went to the first CrossFit gym that was in Northern Kentucky, which was called Northern Kentucky CrossFit.
Okay.
And then we graduated from there to a few other gyms. We had one gym called 408 CrossFit that's where we really started to take off, and that's where I really saw where you could compete and do that stuff. It was a bunch of college kids that played football.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we're just doing this to get better at football. And then they realize, hey, we can be really good at this. This is a sport. Like, let's do this.
That's what I've seen happen, and what kind of happened with myself and some other people is you're using it to get better at a sport, and then that suddenly it takes over, and then you're like, you like that more than the sport, and you get more into that than the sport you were training for.
Exactly.
And then
during
that
track
becomes
season,
yeah.
I was doing snatches in track season with metal plates. We didn't have a single bumper plate, so I had to lower the bar down.
Yep.
Everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm snatching. I'm working on my explosive hips to be able to get better at track."
Yeah.
Because I threw and I did the 400 meter. Didn't do it very long, but because I just love CrossFit.
Yeah, exactly. You get more into that. I mean, that's what I got into CrossFit through. I was trying to find some extra gears for boxing and get stronger for it. And I had one more fight sort of when I was dabbling in it. And then once I really got into CrossFit, the boxing sort of stopped. The like competitive, I just got really into that. And then, my training partner was doing the same thing. We were training together. He was trying to do it for baseball. And then as soon as he knew there was like a competitive aspect to CrossFit, and he won the games. So like that, like the CrossFit just took over.
Yeah. It's crazy because you do it for your sport and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm getting better at my sport. But the best part is that with the CrossFit, you can start to see these things come up fast, and these skill progressions. You're like, oh, I've already become stronger. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's directly correlating to my pull-ups and all of my other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like it's like an addiction, because you're like, I'm addicted to success, and you want to get it, and you want to get the next thing.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I got pull-ups. Now I want toes to bar.
Yep.
Now I want bar muscle-ups.
You found it so early that you were very lucky in that fitness was such a different thing when I was younger, in the way that everything was kind of bodybuilding based. Not kind of, it was.
Oh, yeah.
So what fitness looked like for guys like me in high school and then growing up through college was getting like maybe magazines. This is kind of pre-internet type stuff. You get magazines, and it would have like Jay Cutler or like Ronnie Coleman's like training routine.
Exactly.
And it was sort of so there was no like percentages or there was never a goal of like lifting heavier, or it was always like 3x8 of this and 3x12 of that, and it was a ton of volume of a lot of accessory work. And if you're like I was a tall, skinny kid with no muscle.
Yeah.
You never saw back squats on there.
No.
Maybe there was some benching, but it wasn't like a lot of like really compound lifts. It was like a million rope accessory type things or leg extensions. And so I'd be toiling away doing this stuff and, never really increasing weight, just like going to a fair burn. Like
Yeah.
you just didn't know what you didn't know. And I remember, you know, it was 10 years of that before I find CrossFit. And then it was, you know, we're doing compound lifts. And then there was a goal of like lifting it heavy.
Yeah.
Where your score was like what you were lifting.
Yeah.
You know, or you're moving like this pretty heavy weight for reps. Or you needed to get strong enough to move that weight for reps.
Yeah, exactly.
Changed everything. It was like all of a sudden, you know, I packed on a bunch of muscle, and you know, it was like this game changer of it was really just a paradigm shift mentally.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
it goes from aesthetic to then performance based.
Yep.
As far as like you're wanting to see specific increases and specific measures to get a desired outcome.
Yep.
Yeah. Like you're doing deadlifts, you're doing 9x3s to get more speed on your deadlift so that you can lift, say, 405 for more repetitions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing it, say, like 50% so you can build that hamstring tension and stuff like that.
And I think I mean, I see people go back the other way towards body, but once they have this base and they have a ton of muscle, it's much easier to then like lean out, do a bunch of accessory work. You know what it's like to lift heavy now.
Yeah.
But starting there is, you know, without drugs aiding it and things like it's I think it is not the right approach for like young people and teens and things like that. Like, hey, try this routine, and you know, it's like, man, this guy is the amount of base he has and doing this routine, it is not for you.
Yeah.
You know,
people always try to start where like athletes are.
Yep.
You can't start there. You have to start at the basic.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Time out. So continuing the training talk, what have you done and what are you doing to prep yourself for just your military, like from a physical aspect?
Yeah. So typically with how the military training and stuff like that goes, a lot of it's just going to kind of be prepping for your basic, entry level training. Like I'm running a lot.
Yep.
I'm rucking on days that I'm not running. So maybe a 45, 50-pound ruck, something like that.
Yep.
But I'm still doing all the same accessory stuff, all the same movements. I'm not really changing anything, but I'm also doing a lot more conditioning.
Yeah.
So when I do, it's just going to be more running. I probably run maybe 14 to 20 miles a week. Nothing crazy.
That's not nothing though.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of running.
Yeah. And
you know?
I usually try to get it done before I do anything else.
Uh-huh.
So I'll run and then I'll do lower body. Then I'll run before I do upper body. Stuff
Okay.
like that. Typically on my lower body days, I'm not running as much.
Yeah.
But on my upper body days, I'm hitting it hard.
Yep.
Just because it's like my lower body feels good. Upper body's the thing I'm going to be hitting today. So I can rest tomorrow or I can ruck tomorrow for a nice, smooth, hard, consistent burn, something like that.
Have you lightened up the training loads on your legs?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. They talk a lot about conditioning the feet and stuff like that. And I've heard some things like you should be doing it years prior. You should be doing it as far as like making sure you're getting blisters and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, we lift a lot of loads. We do a lot of things. We jump rope. We run. We rope climb. If that doesn't condition your feet, I don't know what will.
Sure.
I mean, the ability to take a pounding is unlike anything, and you can't really replicate this kind of stuff before you go in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which, I mean, hell, you can not sleep for days if you really want to. I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to recommend it to anybody, and I'm not going to do it.
Sure.
Because it's already going to happen. When I go through basic, it's going to be beautiful. They're going to go ahead and indoctrinate me into that stuff, and I'll be like, sweet.
Have you ran in, are they going to give you'll be running in like boots, right? Mm-hmm. You doing any of that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a pair of Go Ruck boots that are good to go for the Army. So those are all broken in.
Okay.
So
will you be able to wear those, or do they give you?
They'll give me issued ones, but those will be ready to go for selection and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I already have them ready to go, and then I have 2 boots. So
Okay.
I'll have multiple pairs.
I just figured like running in boots is going to be different than like,
yeah, a little bit
fluffy, like, running shoe type stuff.
Yeah, the top support of those things is basically just it's like a gaiter just to keep sand out of it.
Yep.
So I mean, you just tie it like a regular shoe on the bottom, and then you're good to go.
Okay.
So it's nothing too crazy if you've obviously never worn boots, or you have some hot spots on your feet.
Yeah.
Those things need to be taken care of.
Sure.
But other than that, it's basically the same thing as a training shoe. Especially Go Ruck, they make good stuff.
Okay.
Their CEO is a Green Beret, so he's not going to make things that don't work.
Sure. I was just thinking, like, as far as, I know how much you squat and how big your legs are, just if they felt heavy when you ran, like if you haven't, now I'm sure you're used to it running 14, 20 miles a week.
They were interesting to start.
That's what I was going to say. Even, I've been doing Power Hour and really like cut down on my conditioning, like down to like once a week, and then I'm walking, and about every other week I'm just going on like a 2-mile jog, and my legs aren't big. Like, I'm looking at your legs, and like my thighs are starting to rub together, like stuff that and my legs just feel heavy as hell, from the extra quad muscle and stuff that you get from squatting and deadlifting twice a week and doing the heavier training. And like, man, my legs feel heavy as hell, and I'm just like, I know how much weight you're moving around and how much mass you have on your legs, and I'm like, running that much would to me seem harder, but you're also in your body, and like you're used to your body too.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of hip flexor stuff as well, because the more hip flexor stuff I do, the easier it's gonna be able to move those boots or move my legs and this and that.
Yep.
And I just got to keep going.
Like, I mean, I think you're gonna do great, and your first part of it, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard, but I think your like really hard stuff's gonna be after the basic stuff, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the whole thing as it's a summer camp. I get paid to go, and I get paid to do a lot of things that I wouldn't normally get to do on the company dime. So that's how I'm looking at it.
That's really
I make money while I get to do something that I've always liked or thought was cool. There's going to be some parts that are just going to, suck.
Yep.
But that's the best part, because I don't know about them, and it's the unknown and unknowable.
It is. And I would imagine there's probably, maybe you have a vision, but are you thinking outside of like 4 to 8 years, or are you just like seeing how this goes for a while?
Yeah, so I have a 6-year contract.
Okay.
So, most of my stuff, I'm basically not going to be doing anything as far as going any place, unless it's, it's sped up, which most likely is not going to happen.
Okay.
We don't have anything currently going on as far as in the world that would need something that dire, that they would be moving that quick.
Okay.
But yeah, so ideally, probably 4.5 out of my 6-year contract is going to be me learning, working within the military, moving up or moving lateral and stuff like that, as far as going through the whole process.
Sure.
Getting into specific things. I mean, there's no guarantee that I pass this course that I have to go through.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
yeah, that's not a gimme or a given.
No,
by
it's
any
not.
means. No,
yeah.
No.
And I like the aspect of that.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part, is I don't have a guarantee, which makes it even more prominent for me to go as hard as possible.
Well, you're essentially shooting for like the CrossFit Games level, and you may land in the regional level of things there, and that's not bad, by any means. Like, you could be, could you theoretically go into like Ranger School and do that?
Yeah.
If the other stuff doesn't, that's a very elite group as well. Like,
yeah.
There's other options if like the one trajectory isn't working out. Right?
Yeah. And the only way that I'm not going to get past this thing is either, the worst thing possible happens and I just get hurt, or they physically pull me off this thing.
Yep.
Because 1, I'm not quitting. Two, it's going to be hard anyway.
Sure.
So I might as well suck it up and get through it.
Yep.
And, that's
I like that attitude.
That's my thought about it, is be as intense as possible. Think about the worst possible outcome. Anything less than that, fantastic.
Sure.
So I'm just going to hit it as hard as physically possible and try to punch every challenge right in the face.
Yeah, I love it. Oh man, I'm stoked for you with all of that. And what I'm gonna miss too is like you've had a really good run here. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed you being here, bringing your flavor of training. I worked with you closely basically this whole time. Like we did a lot of fun stuff with like our all levels class and like introduced like conjugate and chains and doing all of that stuff into the CrossFit classes, as well as like, I'm currently doing the programming that you're planning in the Power Hour class, and I've had a great run with that. It's been a lot of fun. I've gotten stronger again doing that, and it's really gonna it's tough to lose a guy like you, and it's always like, I don't know. We've gone through these shifts and changes, and it's a bummer, but it's like, then you have a change and you're going to get a different flavor. But the flavor that you've added here is staying too. Like the influence you've had, like I'm sending 3 coaches to the conjugate seminar, which you've been a part of that staff. And because I like the training that you've put, that you've influenced here, that I'm like, I want them to wrap their heads around it and to then inject that into the programming and the training that they're doing. Because each coach who has a program, I like them to own it, to program it, to make it their own. But I think this conjugate, the way, the thought process behind it makes so much sense, and it really works in this group training format so well, where it's a lot more flexible, than a linear program that you might have the same accessories and the same percentages ticking down. And it's like, that works until it doesn't. Yeah. It certainly works at the beginning, and then it's like, okay, then you run into roadblocks. We have some pretty advanced trainees here. You have people who have been training here. A lot of people have been training here 8 to 10 years, cycling through a lot of different strength. They need different stimuluses, like things that are going to like bring up, weak spots, because just going through another 3x5 back squat isn't going to bring up that weak spot. Your quads might be as strong as they're going to get just doing this that way. So it's such a good tool to have as a coach, to be able to say, okay, I have this problem, or you can look at an athlete and like, okay, that's where they've got a spot, and then we need to program more of that. And it's actually easy to even see over time with a group. Yeah. I'm like, man, this whole group, I'll say 8 out of 10 of them, they have weak hamstrings. Like, we got to hammer that over the next 12 weeks. And then you see all their lifts pop up, or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Like, you can be able to tell, hey, this person hasn't PR'd their back squat or their front squat. Why? They have weak hip flexors. They're not fast enough. Yep. All they know is one slow movement. Yep. So if we're doing 3x5s, you're working on all of your endurance, but you're not working on your full, true, like 1 rep max strength. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, you're just, you continue to work on the same things. It's just the definition of insanity. Yeah. I've really enjoyed like everything you've brought to the table. You've been a really valuable asset and just a key team member, and fun to be around. And, this has been a really fun run. So when did you start working here? I want to say... It was 2022, correct? Or 23? It might have been 23. 23, yeah. It was 23. I met you in December of 21, I believe. I think so, yeah. I think it was December of 21. Was it 23 that you started working here? I think it's got to be 22. No, 23. It was. It was 23. Yeah, I remember coming up early
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 23. But in 21 is when I went down to Cincinnati and trained with you and Shane. And that was a great experience. We had a lot of fun, me, Dan, and Arlie.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Amanda, yeah.
Yeah, that was, and then, Mandy came, and she wasn't actually that far out of like heart surgery, and she's taken off with all her strength stuff since then.
Yeah.
She's really bought into all the conjugate stuff, and I know she wants to get like a lot of her people like certified in it just so they can wrap their head around it. Because from a PT standpoint physical therapy is like accessory exercises.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. You're building up weaknesses and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes so much sense for PTs to learn this stuff as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love conjugate again for all those reasons, because I have kind of, everyone's got a unique body, but I have a unique body in the way that I have sort of these long, loose limbs that are pretty mobile. I've trained them to be fairly explosive and strong, but they're like, since they're mobile and loose, they're prone to injuries and things like that. And I have to kind of like, I'll go back to power. I almost think about it as like I'm going to like a auto body shop, and I'm like tightening.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tighten all the lug nuts and the joints
Going in for a check-in.
Yeah.
And getting work done.
So I do that I'm trying to do, I need 12 weeks of just tightening all of this up before I start, running it around again, because everything starts to like shake loose on me. And then I'm like, I get all these like little tweaks all over the place. So that's the way my brain works. I'm like, okay, I need to go in for my like checkup, slow everything down, and just start tightening everything up.
There's always a prescription for strength.
Yeah. And it's funny, the longer I'm in this, the less I know. And I'm like, man, I haven't even scratched the surface. And I'll look through like every little training regimen and thing I've done, and I'm like, I can write it out in like 25 minutes, like every little block of thing. I'm like, man, that's not that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been through like, I don't know, 10 little phases of training. And I'm like, oh, I did that for about a year. I did this for about 2 years. And I'm like, man, sounds like a lot of experience if I say I've got 20 years. And then I'm like,
yeah, you look at your stuff and you're like, how much do I know?
Yeah, it's not.
And you're like, I don't know everything.
No,
like, I don't know. I barely scratched the surface.
I'm starting to just now get like a little wisdom with some of the stuff. And like, I think a lifelong goal is to like for me is like mastering my mind and body, and it'll never be locked down, but I'll always be working on like, I'll get this injury or whatever, and it's reoccurring, and I'm like, okay, how can I solve this puzzle?
Yeah. Like I tried this piece last time.
Yep.
It worked for a little bit, but what can make this thing go longer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how can I raise the minimum of my stuff?
Yeah.
Like, so that, instead of starting with 135, I start with 225. Something like that.
It's a moving target too. You'll find out as you get older, like, you're still on your way up, but then that stops happening at some point. And then it starts doing this a little more.
Yeah.
And then your body changes. It changes. There's like big changes that you have. Like I think there's like more micro ones every 4 years, but then I don't know. There's even like I've read about it, physiological ones. Like they happen at, 33 and, 45 and 60 and, they make these big jumps.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, they're not all negative. Like sometimes things have got better, and then some things are like, oh, like I can't take a program I did at 28 and get the same result. Like it doesn't work.
No. And typically like you do something so long or you do it so many times, it's not going to have that same effect. And if anything, it's going to have a detrimental effect. So you have to constantly change things. And kind of like Dave. Dave is constantly changing things for his training, and yet he looks like a rock star.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like even he's older. Yeah, obviously he's older than me, And when he takes his shirt off, I'm like, I want to look like that guy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. He's an artist with it.
Yeah.
Like he is like, he thinks of things really abstractly. I think he's going to be taking over the programming, and I'm actually meeting with him right after this to like kind of go over like conjugate principles.
Yeah.
But then also like, hey, you do some really cool stuff. Let's put your own flavor on this.
Put it in there.
Yeah. You're going to add it to it.
Use your brain.
Yeah. Add your own flavor to it. Use your artistic ability. Like me and him sat down, and it's probably one of the most memorable workouts. I want to do this again with him, but I don't know. Did you see when we were doing all the like barrier jumps and like things like that one day, like me and him, came up with that, and he's got,
I did that workout.
Yeah. It was fun, wasn't it?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming up with, thinking of this as like there's a science to it, but there's certainly an art as well.
Yeah.
And he's, he went to art school. He's got an artist mind. So, coming up with like his, painting his picture is going to look different, but I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the stuff he's going to come up with. But yeah, I mean, we may shoot you some texts and consult with you when you're gone and see how it's all, see how you're doing and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And all these guys are going through the conjugate seminar in October.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So they'll be doing that in Gahanna, coming up pretty soon. And I'm excited for them to do it together. It's always fun to do it as a crew.
Oh, yeah.
Like me and Dan, Arlie, and Mandy all did it. It was like really fun to go through that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had been doing Power Hour leading into that for like 3 months. So I was like geeked on it when I did it, and it really, a lot of the stuff I learned like really stuck. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And Shane's got an amazing mind for that.
Yeah. Anytime I talk to Shane, I always learn something new.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if I've heard it 1,000 times, the same stuff, the same stories. It's always something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always take something away. I'm like, I can do that better. I go,
yep.
That's one thing I haven't done. Or this, I got to think about that. Oh, yeah. This and that. Yeah.
Well, Jack, it's been an awesome ride having you. We're going to miss the hell out of you. I hope I don't break too many hearts when I put this out. But, yeah, man, I mean, it's been you've been great. I've loved having you every minute, and I'm really excited for you, and anything you ever need from me moving forward, or you ever need like recommendations or whatever it is, or when you come back on leave, like please stop by, see us, come work out, and keep in touch and let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, it's bittersweet, but yeah, I'm excited and I'm sad, but it's going to be fun not knowing what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's always an exciting time. I mean, anytime you're about to step into a new adventure, it's just like, you get that like anxiety and nervousness, but it's like, all right, it's time,
Yeah. Finishing a chapter of a book, going to the next one.
Yeah. I'm stoked for you, man.
Thanks,
buddy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.